And greetings, everyone. It is lovely to see you and recognize your divinity and majesty again. So, my name is Troy J. Bacon, and I would like to welcome you to episode 1 of my new series called Walk-In Talks. In this series, I'll be talking about walk-ins. This is the first episode called Who and What We Are. And this series is intended to debunk and delineate and explain more about what walk-ins are on this planet as the phenomena is occurring and as more walk-ins are coming into the earth. And so I'll get into it. So I have said in other videos that I'm a walk-in, and I have disclosed that in multiple groups on different platforms and said that on the air on radio shows. So I'm a walk-in, and I am from Sirius A. And what that means is this body was born. Of course, this body was born at one point. So this body was born with a different soul. And what I am now is essentially the walk-in that came in at the age of 25. I kind of think of myself as an integration of some elements and residues and parts that and memories that were left in this body from the original soul, the natal soul, and my walk-in soul. Myself, kind of a crazy and chaotic and complicated and convoluted existence that I live. But yes, my natal soul is what I call the walkout, or my counterpart. I think of him as a brother, and I still see him. I still talk with him. That aspect, that soul fragment, is now in a gray alien body, which is actually the same body that I came from. And yeah, we're actually part of one small gray cohort, part of a larger alien family. It also includes mantis beings, grays and mantises, highly evolved beings, I would call them. And my walkout thought of us as highly evolved too. Um, we're not like robotic grays that have no emotions, no soul, no consciousness, no higher awareness or anything. Um, we're not like that. We're not programmable grays. We're biological grays. And the mantises are biological too, completely and highly evolved. And I think the mantises, as I've heard other people talk about them, as I understand them, they're kind of like the overseers or also the architects of what we're doing, to some degree. Yes, we are here for hybrid programs, and that is ongoing. It's not going to stop. It cannot be stopped. It never will be, because you and I wouldn't be here without it. I'm a hybrid, genetically and spiritually. Syrian and gray, walk-in, hybrid, starseed, kind of all of the above. So that's a bit about me. I'll explain more about some of those details and walk-ins later, but I want to talk about generally what walk-ins are, what we are not, who we are, why we are here. And so one thing I want to debunk is a myth or a misunderstanding that I've heard from I think at least two individuals. So I believe that may be much more rampant than maybe I'm aware. Anyway, some people are of the understanding that walk-ins are evil or demonic or possessions or taking over a body, which is absolutely not true. Walk-ins can only happen by a soul contract agreement between the natal soul and the walk-in soul or soul aspect. Um, and it's all consensual on the soul level. Usually the natal soul living that was born in the body is not aware that there's about to be a walk-in or going to be a walk-in until after it happens. Yeah, so it's all consensual. There's no takeover. There's nothing nefarious about it. The reason walk-ins are happening generally is for the evolution and healing and um, ascension of human consciousness on Earth. And this is at least the second planet I remember, the third memories of that I have helped awaken and I'm helping awaken now. Um, that's, I believe, what the purpose of my living in bodies and incarnation is. Um, as far as I understand it, my purpose is not to just go through the sufferings of life and um, then meditate a lot and become enlightened and exit the incarnation cycle or anything like that. My purpose is to awaken myself, which I've done to some considerable extent, and to share my awakening knowledge and my Reiki knowledge and energy, especially starseed Reiki, um, and to share that with others, help awaken others on this planet who are ready for healing and awakening. I just sort of pop in the floor or wall or something. Yeah. Is that my dog or something else in the room? Something moved or fell. Anyway, so what walk-ins are, I'll explain in a different context, kind of a more literal way, is a soul or soul fragment, quite often a whole soul, um, that is from a different plane, a higher level of existence from heaven or the angelic realm, or has lived many lives on other planets throughout other star systems, and is much more evolved than the soul, which is why they make this agreement so that there's like this trade-off benefit of the natal soul being able to go through all the ups and downs and growth experiences of growing up a body, going through childhood and adolescence and growing up a body and learning from all that. But then the benefit is that the natal soul, who often is not quite strong enough to finish all the karma and heal themselves, then doesn't have to, because the walk-in that's more evolved and stronger in some senses, and quite often is the case, comes in during the exchange, usually during a traumatic experience, usually highly traumatic or some sort of event. It can be different. It's very different for every walk-in. But the walk-in comes in with this higher vibrational light or energy or knowledge from other existences and other lifetimes, that then there's like this death and dying period, it's really an intense dark night of the soul. It was for me anyway. It was for a lot of walk-ins. And so then there's this like usually dark night of the soul, death, dying, internally, emotionally, spiritually, and then reawakening gradually to the existence of or the nature as a walk-in. And this then greater awakening gradually through various strange and uh, enlightening experiences about who they are and where they come from. And yeah, that's the benefit of so one soul gets to grow up the body, but not has to finish everything, and the walk-in doesn't actually have to go through the pains and the struggles and stuff of growing up in adolescence and adult and young adulthood. But the walk-in then has the benefit of already having a grown-up body. Um, some walk-ins already have health conditions to deal with. Some do not. Some are stronger. Some walk-ins I've heard have pre-existing health conditions clear up or change, or some walk-ins may have the challenge also of coming down with new health conditions as part of their journey. Um, so anyway, yeah, there's like this big spectrum and gambit and almost infinity of what walk-ins have to deal with after their walk-in. I'll say quickly that there are some walk-ins that are not a complete soul that comes in in exchanges. Some are like a braid or an infusion or a fragment um, of like the oversoul, the person's higher self, or I've even heard of starseed alien walk-ins that come in through like an on ship or a UFO sighting experience where uh, some sort of alien aspect or energy or upgrade happens to the person, and that's the walk-in. And sometimes they leave a number of years later after a certain amount of healing and development work is done, or sometimes they stay permanently. Pretty sure I stay permanently. Although I think in my early awakenings, I also had a sense that I might leave after about 10 or 15 or 20 years after I get things situated to what a mission requires. Big mission. So, yeah, that's another thing about walk-ins is that walk-ins have this mission, and just like a lot of other star seeds too, uh, under their awakened souls. But we're coming with this mission. Um, Sometimes our mission work, for mine example, part of it has been to revamp and upgrade a novel trilogy that my walkout started, and I'll be publishing the first book of that soon. Um, I made a lot better, I think, than how he wrote it initially. And yeah, then there's I've taken the healing arts and healing knowledge and sort of make it a career to a much greater level than where he was going and what he accomplished. Um, so yeah, there's this mission on it with the lock in of either upgrading things and sort of taking what the lockout had already set up or uh, learned or started, and then taking it to the next level or a whole different level. Or a mission can be just a completely new mission, which is inspiring, interesting, motivating, and attractive, and really fires up the person and changes other people and usually heals or benefits other people, including the earth and this energy and whatever it is. Um, sky's the limit, I guess. Um, so that's a bit of who and what we are. And I think in the next video, I'm gonna keep this kind of short. In the next video, I want to talk more about why we are here. And there's quite a bit that I can say about my experiences in particular about why I'm here and why some of the walk-ins I know are here. Um, And so, yeah, that's a bit about who and what we are as walk-ins. And I hope that you enjoyed this. And thank you for viewing it. Yeah, that's my um, short introduction to walk-ins. If you have not known about what walk-ins are before, um, yeah, we're happening a lot more often on the planet as this planet is going through a change period, exiting the overlap between long count cycles and entering a new millennium, a new a whole new era that Earth has not seen before. And I'll be talking a lot more about that too as part of why we're here in the next video. So keep looking up, and as a Syrian, I see that each one of you is a sacred being, and I wish you and blessed you and blessed life. Thank you.